Dropping any frames. Silky smooth sailing. Welcome everybody. For everyone joining us, check out the pre-launch to Villains, A Book of Dicks by Richard Fairgray. Love that cover too. It's awesome. We're gonna be diving into kind of why that cover is designed the way it is, why we're doing a pre-launch party instead of a actual Kickstarter party, and much more. But you know, you guys know the drill too. This is kind of the warm-up phase. We're making sure everything's going to be smooth sailing. I'm excited to dive into what's been up with you, Richard. It's been a couple months at least, right? Half a year, if not a year. Was Lily born?
No, she must have been. We must have done a Starfucker campaign.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So that's February.
Okay. Yeah, so it's been about a couple months. It feels like forever though. Like I
remember there was that one time where I suggested a date that we do something, and you selfishly said that Lily was being born that day.
I know, dude. I hope you get.
I don't know. I don't like knowing that I'm not the favorite. You know.
I hope you can forgive me.
Well, we'll see. Let's see how today goes.
Like I when I held her for the first time, all I could picture was just your head, like swaddled up, and I was just like
little bearded child,
little Richard. I'm like, damn, dude, I disappointed him. So I'm excited. You know, a lot of our day streams were always. I loved our interviews, but it's just like the quality on my end with the camera. I was right by a window, and that daylight just blinded me. It was blinding.
This new setup looks great. But let's get down to the important stuff. Let's not waste time. You got a child sleeping.
Yes. We were just making
about
sure.
The Baby Yoda film.
You seen it?
No. What? No.
So we are actually good. 0 frames dropped. Perfect. Crystal clear and green across the board. Richard, I'm good to go as long as you are.
I am good to go.
All right. Let's erect this thing in 3, 2, 1. Yo. Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic episode of Keeping It Geekly. It's your Caper Sarah Cody, and we're hanging out with our returning guest, Richard Fairgray. We're here to break down Villains, A Book of Dicks, and everything in between. You guys may notice we're not doing a official Kickstarter launch, and that's because Kickstarter has not approved this campaign outside of the pre-launch phase. We're going to be diving into that, but you guys can help fight the injustice that is happening with Kickstarter and its recent controversy by signing up for the pre-launch to be notified when this campaign goes live. So hit that pre-launch, sign up, follow Richard. What's up, man? Welcome to the stream. How you been?
Oh my God, I have been better. This is a chaotic time. You know, the Baby Yoda film comes out tomorrow. It's really the only thing I'm focused on right now. I've never seen a Star Wars film, so I'm excited for this to be my first. Excited to learn what happened to Yoda to make him an old man. I'm assuming aging. So it's just great to finally get a backstory. I know a little bit about Yoda from a puppet that was at my doctor's office when I was a child. There was a Yoda and an ET together, I think. Not from the same set or anything, just next to each other in the play area. And I watched a small child shit himself so hard that it came out the armholes of his onesie and cover both of those little alien men. And that really kind of imprinted on me. So yeah, this is going to be huge week for me. Seeing how that fun guy learned his odd little speech pattern.
Do you think that's why you never like got into Star Wars? Was because like it's just been tainted by some kid like selfishly defecating themselves?
Well, you know, I don't like it when you say defecating themselves because it implies that he could have defecated someone else. I think I just don't give a shit about space. Honestly, I think it really just comes down to I think space is dumb. I think Earth is cool. I don't even like it when you go underwater, honestly. Like anytime I played a video game where they would go underwater, I'd be like, someone else can do this level. I just don't. I want to be earthbound. I'm willing to fly. I'm willing to jump pretty high, but like above or below land too far is really not of much interest to me.
You know, I think this is the first time we've unearthed that within the Richard Fairgray lore catalog.
Yeah, I don't. I never got the fascination between like, hey, you know what's out there? Long distance travel and silence. And and don't get me wrong, like there are some films that are sort of set in space that I thoroughly enjoy. I like the film Alien a
Hmm.
lot. Um, I I love the first 10 minutes of Alien Romulus. Uh, I like things that are on planets, and I guess Star Wars is probably on planets. I don't know. I don't know. I think it's also that like I remember it was screening on television when I was very, very young, and the scrolling text begins at the beginning, and I just thought like this is homework. I don't give a shit about this, and I walked away. And here we are. I'm gonna see one tomorrow. Now I got my tickets. Got I got seeing it in 40x. So Yoda's
Ooh.
gonna just shake me real hard. I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen with that. The Devil Wears Prada 2 is in 40x right now at my local theater. I mean, not anymore. It was last week, and I saw that film. I liked it a lot. I don't know. I don't know what the 40x experience would bring to it. Anyway, that's probably enough talking about
I don't
pop
even know what
culture.
that means. It sounds like a Sega Genesis attachment. They had like a 32X where you could play like games like Star Wars in.
Uh huh.
And you're saying 40X. I'm like, dude, this sounds like a video game thing. What's going on? What is the 40X?
40x is this amazing technology where the seat will shake and punch you, and you will get sprayed with stink and water. Um, I saw I saw the third Avatar film, Avatar 3, I believe it's called, in 40x, and on the way in, they handed me a poncho. And I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna get so wet in this bad boy. And I did. And the 40x theater is 2 buses and a train from me. And I had to go home just dripping.
Mm.
So it's a really intense experience. My first time in it was Batman v Superman. And that one I just walked out of there in a lot of pain because the seat just kept punching me.
You know,
So
I thought you were saying 40. So the
no,
32X. Yeah,
4D.
yes. No,
Yeah.
no. I was like the 32X joke would have made a lot more sense. And then now it just falls
Got
flat.
it. Got it. I thought you were just latching onto the letter X.
He's like, it's not that deep, Cody. It's not that deep. So yeah, let's talk about Villains, a book of dicks.
Yep.
This is you've done about 40 campaigns on Kickstarter, and this is one of the very first times a campaign hasn't instantly been approved for you, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so like obviously when you're new to the platform, you have to go through the full review process. And so like with Octopus and the first Haunted Hill and I think X Files or Frankenstein one, you wait they say up to 3 days, but I waited less than a day on each of them. The things were approved and given the Project We Love badge and all of that. But once you're in good standing and once you've fulfilled a number of campaigns, generally you are for the most part just kind of like waved through. You've done your good work. And obviously a year ago I started doing these books of dicks, or the I started doing the dick drawings at conventions, and then I started doing these books of dicks on Kickstarter.
Hmm.
And I had thought like obviously I've done a lot of like, aggressive and unwanted, and my goal has always been dick that is at fault. I think it's the person connected to it. And so my dicks are contextless. They
Hmm.
are penises existing as artworks. They are drawn with love because there's nothing I love more than dicks. And I think I'm bringing something very different to the table there. But still, I know the world we live in. I know the tightrope we walk, and I know that we are moving further and further into Puritanism right now. And I will not lay down.
Yeah.
Uh, but we put out the first dick book last. I mean, I put one out at the San Diego Comic Con last year, but my first one on Kickstarter was in October. We did Dick or Treat, and it was a book of 31 dicks dressed up for Halloween. And it was a collab with Laguna Studios because we were sort of talking. If the dicks had really taken off, we were talking about doing some other stuff, a card game and a board game and things. And once again, instantly approved. We got the Project We Love. So people had the Kickstarter people had looked at it and said, yeah, all of these pictures of sick penises dressed up to go trick-or-treating are exactly what we want, and we like it, and we will say we love it. And that
Hmm.
was great. And we did the Book of Superhero Dicks in January. I can't remember if that got PWL'd or not. And then we did Dixar, which was a book of dicks inspired by Pixar characters about a month and a half ago. And all of these have been approved. There has been no issue. And again, these are not dicks in sexual situations. These are not dicks shooting any fluids. These are dicks in costumes. These are art. And all of these things have been instantly approved. And last week, as everyone knows, Kickstarter dropped their new policies on mature content, and the internet shit itself over it because the policies were bad. They were bad, and they were confusing, and they were incredibly punitive toward creators. And, you know, Kickstarter has been a place that ostensibly is not for pornography, but your definition of pornography varies. You know, it is very subjective, and it is also a place that is very much. It's not like I spent 11 years publishing children's books, and every now and again, someone will say, "Would you ever get back into kids' books?" And I always say no, because I'm mostly doing things through Kickstarter now, and Kickstarter is not a place for children's content. It is not a place for all ages content.
Yeah.
Things in that realm just do not do well on that platform because it is a platform through just the audience that they have built. It is a platform for grown-ass adults to be looking for things, and grown-ass adults with credit cards to purchase things or back projects and follow along. So, like, I don't think it's an issue that you need to say you cannot have adult content on here. Anyway, obviously, you know, I'm not going to get into all of the backlash that's happened because it's kind of been well covered. But yesterday, out of nowhere, Kickstarter announced that they were walking it all back. The pressure had worked, and they're walking it all back, and we could go back to what we used to do. And so I, having had a Kickstarter campaign end last week, I had decided that I was not going to put anything else on the platform until mid-June when I have a new memoir coming out. I just decided on a whim yesterday morning, like, I do not believe this. I think this is a brief window where we will have a little bit of freedom, and I think new policies are coming within a week or two that will be far more clearly stated and probably far more punishing to creators or far more limiting to creators. So I thought, fuck it. Like, the parents are out of town. Let's order a keg, right? Like, let's do another dick book right now while I've got a chance. Because obviously, I'm going to keep making these dick books. I was going to keep funding them through Kickstarter. BackerKit reached out to me as soon as the mature content rules changed and said, hey, we're a good place for your dicks. Like, it's not like there isn't a platform for dicks. But Kickstarter walked us back. So I said, I'm launching a book today. And I went to work. I made that cover. I drew almost all of the dicks for the book. I built the campaign. It is almost a facsimile of the previous dick campaign, so I know it's something that they would approve of. All the pictures are censored in the usual way that I censor them, where I blur the actual parts of the penis and just show the kind of implied shapes. And I hit that little button to submit my project for review, which is always instant for me. And, oh, my project is now in review. And I thought, okay, something's different now. And then I got an email back that explained to me that I was incorrect about the amount of money I was trying to raise and that I was not trying to raise enough money to pay for a printed book, which is wrong because I know how to do this. And also, I think, I've fulfilled 36 campaigns, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. And they sent me a lot of links with wording like, starting a Kickstarter can be a really hard process. Here are some links to help new people. I'm like, do not talk to me like I'm a child. But I made the changes that they wanted me to make. And now here we are, a full 16 hours later, and my project is still not approved. And I have to assume that the people at Kickstarter are good people, and they do not want to talk to me like I'm an idiot child. I have to assume this is an AI tool that is approving these projects. And I think that sucks. I think that at a time when trust is at an absolute low between creators and Kickstarter, at a time where a lot of legacy creators on the platform are feeling pushed out and silenced, this is a really bad time for you guys to be getting a chatbot to poorly execute your job.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm mad. I want this Kickstarter to be live because I do think we have a narrow window, and I want to see what happens when we get a 4-day campaign to make sure we don't get caught letting me have this thing out in the world. So if I look like I'm looking at my screen, it's because every now and again I'm checking my emails to see if Kickstarter have suddenly approved it. They have still not, but I did just get confirmation from a meeting this afternoon with a lovely lady named Tracy. So that's also important. I won't go into more detail. It's just we live in a really messed up world, and one thing that isn't really being talked about in a lot of the articles is that the people who are going to be hurt most by this kind of adult content ban, and let's call it what it is a ban. It is a soft ban, but it is a ban. It's going to be women and it's going to be queer people, because pretty universally, historically, the people who are policed the most are queer people, because the sex they want to portray is there's a far lower bar for it to be considered offensive by corporations, by political pundits, by people who are trying to villainize or other a marginalized group, and women whose pleasure has always been viewed as secondary or sometimes offensive. You better not show a woman enjoying herself, because it will make the men looking at it think, how dare she? And I think this sucks. Like, Kickstarter has kind of positioned it, whether they are a progressive platform or not, they have positioned themselves as a progressive platform to build their audience. And to go back on that now, I think sucks. And I think it is it's a betrayal, honestly. So that is where we're at. I am putting out a book of dicks inspired by supervillains. And my cover is a mouthful of dicks. My favorite thing to have. It is
My favorite thing.
cleverly disguised as teeth.
And that was done kind of to circumvent this in a way, right? So it's not so blatantly out there what it is. And that was one of my favorite things. But it also kind of sucks that you had to go that route.
Well, the thing is, I sell these books at conventions, right? And I know that at a convention, there's an awful lot of, there's people of every age. So my books never have a fully rendered penis on the cover. They always have a silhouette of a cute cartoon penis and a title. And when people come over, I'm always at my table. I'm very vigilant on this. The books only get shown to adults.
Yeah.
But, I don't want a kid to wander by and glance down and see, a fucking veiny cock on the cover of a book. That's not... That, again, the bad part of dick pics is when they are unwanted. And I am working very hard to create an environment where I have dick pics available for people who want to see them. And I hope they are dicks that will delight people when they do.
Richard has this little bead curtain that he just pulls to the side for the adults. All right, you know the drill.
I would love to set up a little adults only section on half of my table. It would be so funny. It would be so annoying, but it would be a really good gag. But I've always obscured things. The superhero one is a silhouette of a dick as the bat signal. The Dick or Treat is a silhouette of a dick riding a broom wearing a witch's hat against the moon. Dixar is a silhouette of a certain old man with a single balloon tied to his penis to hold it up. And so with this, I wanted to do something that was using the iconography of villains. The evil smile is such a universally understood sign of a monster is here, but also because this is a comic book adjacent thing, it's very referential to images of Venom, everyone's favorite anti-hero. And it is something that at a glance on a con table, people will just see a mouth.
Mm-hmm.
If people come over and look and see this range of now 4 dick books on my table, alongside all of my myriad other projects, they will say, "Oh, look, that's funny. He's obscured a bunch of dicks as teeth." So it's it is for 2 reasons, but it certainly is I don't know, it's more about how quickly I've had to make this thing.
Yeah.
that kind of annoys me, especially because I'm busy. I have a memoir coming out next month. I have 11 other books scheduled for this year, and I'm having to kind of I think it's important to make this point that while you may not want my dick pics, no one has to want them. They are by definition not pornographic.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of things that will get caught up in the maelstrom of this kind of new rule. And that
You
sucks.
know, and it really sets like a scary future ahead of us that a payment processing company, Stripe, can pull this on just this platform and cause this disruption. What other platforms are at risk? What other individuals and creators are at risk from their livelihoods? This is your livelihood that is getting impacted by this. And I think that kind of opens up an even broader playing field, like of what to expect in the future to come. I mean, if this is happening on Kickstarter, what is going to happen on every other platform that doesn't necessarily show pornographic images, but walks a blurred line that might be considered close.
Also, I'm not gonna be mealy mouthed about this. Pornography is good.
Yeah.
Pornography is a good thing for people to be able to create. Like when the times when pornography becomes bad are when we start having these rules that make it hidden and shameful, and then it allows people to manipulate or extort people to create the content. And it's not what we want. We want open, consensual, fully endorsed, happy pornography.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so I'm not there. There are people out there who should be on the right side of this, who are saying like, oh well, as long as it's only the pornography that's being gotten rid of, we like people. It's that complying in advance thing, that problem that so many people seem to have, where uh, we've been told we should be ashamed of this. And again, this is always wording that is designed so that we can slowly criminalize activities from marginalized groups. So now is the time to stand up. And by the way, Stripe tried this with OnlyFans
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, and OnlyFans kowtowed, and then OnlyFans went back on it, and either Stripe back down or they got another processor. I honestly can't remember. But when we actually all just honestly say, "Hey, I like to look at these things, and I'm not ashamed of it. You cannot take that away from me." The companies will bow to that kind of pressure. The problem we have with Kickstarter is that comics, while being an incredibly public-facing category, they account for a tiny percentage of Kickstarter's revenue because
Yeah.
Kickstarter mostly have giant tech projects and things. And I think that Kickstarter are wanting to lean more and more into these legacy IP things, which will dry up eventually, because my dick campaign is going to raise a couple of $1,000s, maybe 3 or 4 if I'm lucky. And that does not make a difference to Kickstarter in the way that a G.I. Joe campaign that doesn't have any dicks in it that
You
we
read
know
my
of.
mind like perfect. And those get like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And
Yeah.
it's sickening almost, right?
And look, I don't mind those things being there. Like get your content wherever you can. I think it's exciting that people are able to get these things that have been long out of print or get new versions, whatever. I just think that Kickstarter have built their audience on the backs of creators like me, like Pat Shan, like Charlie Stickney, like Travis Gibb, like Anthony Stokes, there's so many people who have built this platform up through a mixture of adult content, teen appropriate content, all ages content, all different genres, and at a much smaller scale than a GI Joe book can do.
Yeah.
But Kickstarter got the people to the platform to back these things because of people like us sending out our newsletters and bringing in friends and family and bringing in our pre-existing audiences and slowly building something. And now, 17 years in, there are a lot of people on that platform who all probably like comics a little bit or probably liked a TV show when they were a kid. And so when you throw up a Gargoyles or a Disney Villains or a G.I. Joe book, it's going to make a hell of a lot more money because it's familiar already.
Mm-hmm.
But those people are there because of us. Not all of them. I'm sure that the G.I. Joe campaign brings in some new people. I don't doubt it. But like, I'd love to see how many of my backers who had never been to Kickstarter before also went and backed one of those campaigns. And sure, maybe it's only 50 people. But if it's those 50 people every time, then you're getting hundreds of backers
Mm-hmm.
from me, from my work. And I am small. And think about the medium guys and the big guys. And when I say the big guys, I mean the ones who still cannot compare to a $2 million campaign. And that's bad. And these are the people who are being overlooked. And these are the people whose work is going to get flagged because, as you said earlier, you got banned from Twitch last week for having a nipple show in a comic page.
Yeah.
Like, where are we, guys? It's the year 202.6. Okay, like we should probably be a little bit more comfortable with this stuff by now. Just
And
grow up, world.
the beauty of it is on Twitch, if you're a male, you can show your nipples, of course.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've been on Twitch for years. First time ever got banned. And we were talking about that. I thought it was a weird coincidence how that happened, how this rollout on Kickstarter happened, and it all was within like a day's time notice, basically. I wonder if Stripe has anything to do with Twitch.
Well, I'm sure they do. They're the processor for most things.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that the scuttlebutt seems to be that this is Stripe bound to pressure from political figures who are trying to push these kinds of bans in specific states, but who are kind of coming up against freedom of speech as a big old barrier for them. And so rather than use legislation, they're basically threatening to ban Stripe from these states, and Stripe are saying, oh shit, we need that money. So they are saying, all right, well, we will blanket ban all of it. And I think that, like, please remember, no one, okay, look, let's get really real about this. Last year, a whole bunch of places banned porn. Like a whole bunch of states just banned porn websites. You cannot access Pornhub in several states now. But no one wants to talk about it because if you talk about it, you have to admit that you're jerking it to Pornhub.
Yeah.
Which, is embarrassing because it's not the best one. You want to be... I'm not going to list my favorites because then they might get banned too. But like, people are taught to be so ashamed of enjoying sexual content, a thing that not everyone, but a thing that the majority of people are very on board for. So they don't say anything, because to say something would be to publicly say, hey, listen, I really miss cranking it to this website. And so it gets silenced very easily. And I'm not going to be afraid to say it. I enjoy cranking it to a lot of websites. So can we stop acting like, little delicate flowers and just be proud of the fact that we all do that?
Let's get a hashtag crank your hog going in chat. We have BMD Nerd over on YouTube. Kickstarter saw all the money they were about to lose. I think that was a big chunk of it. I think once they realized how many, it's similar to the Eisners. I think once they realized how many people got vocal so quick, they started backpedaling things. Okay,
but let's talk for real about this backpedaling, because yes, they have said we are reverting to our old policies. However, Stripe still say no. So if you get flagged, you will get banned, and it's not our fault. They're essentially giving themselves a complete easy out while trying to publicly look like they've done something good.
And there's really, they give you kind of a blanketed, what they're going to ban. But this really, yeah, you're right. This doesn't really give you too much hope on at any moment your campaign can get pulled.
Yeah. Part of the wording, when I was looking through this last week, when I was, because obviously I had sort of made the decision about 3 weeks ago that I was going to start doing, I was going to set up a second Kickstarter account so that I could have the books that are specifically only dicks separate from my other stuff. And not because I want to separate them vibe-wise or anything like that, but because, I put out enough books that I actually need to be able to run more than one campaign at a time. Sometimes I need them to overlap because what am I going to do? Sleep? And about 3 days before I was about to start doing that, I was talking to another Kickstarter creator, and he had kind of heard whispers about this coming. And he was like, just wait, like, don't do it. Because this is about to all come down. And he was completely right. And when I looked at the new rules, they were very confusing because they had wording in there about how nudity is actually okay if it's art. Now,
What defines
art
that?
is a little bit the same as what defines
Yeah.
pornography. It's about personal preference, honestly. And then it also said, well, on one category you can have nudity, but it also said you cannot show genitals. Now, when you're drawing dicks entirely on their own, what the fuck am I meant to show? And so when Kickstarter were like, well, yeah, we can find a way. We'll figure out. We should talk. We should, and like, good for them for reaching out to me. That's great. But like, what are we going to talk about? The blank piece of paper I'm allowed to show on your platform?
Yeah.
The thing that like, if I'm drawing Ham from Toy Story as a penis, I now have to like just not have him there at all, as opposed to having the penis parts blurred out. I mean, this policy also features things about revealing clothing. I mean, this is so over the line.
And it makes me wonder too, going forward, what the algorithm is going to look like for creators that are in this space, if they're going to get blacklisted. Because shadow bans, they don't publicly just show you a list of who shadows banned. You find out because your traffic is chopped in half or non-existent. And I'm wondering if we're going to see any of that start trickling through as well.
I mean, what's interesting is that like Kickstarter people talk about how important the project we love is, or the newsletter placements and those kind of things. The truth is, most people know that like if you've been on the platform for a while, most of your audience, 90 to 95% of your audience, are people who have already backed your stuff coming back, or sharing it with those people sharing it on other social media platforms. It's stuff coming from newsletters and things. It is very rarely new discoveries from the Kickstarter page. This legend of people with big sacks of cash hovering on the Kickstarter homepage looking for new things, that's gone. That's not the reality of 2026, So a shadow ban on Kickstarter would be a far smaller deal, I think. But it just having your project canceled. I mean, people are not good at checking their emails. People are not good at reading updates. So what happens when I have, 100 people have backed a book, and on day 4 or 5, it suddenly gets flagged and banned, and that book just doesn't exist. And all those people, they don't get charged. But most people don't remember what they've spent on Kickstarter because it's 28 days later that they get charged for it. And then a few months later, they'll be like, shouldn't I be getting a book from you? And then they're annoyed at you. I mean, the number of times I'll get an email from someone whose card, like their credit card is errored or whatever, and their pledge has been canceled after the campaign, which happens, a small number of people each campaign this happens with. But often it's people who have backed several of my campaigns, and they'll email me like 2 or 3 months later being like, hey, you never sent me this book. I see that the campaign has been fulfilled. I'm like, yeah, because you didn't pay me for it. But like, that's just the reality. And like, it's nice. These are people who then will say, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't pay you for it. Let me pay you now. And that's great. But like, people are not reading their updates from Kickstarter religiously. You get so many of them. If you're backing the comics category, you're probably backing a lot of campaigns, and you just start ignoring anything that says it's from Kickstarter, and rightfully so.
And how many people get a bad taste in their mouth from that happening too, not realizing that it was canceled, and that's why they didn't get the book, and maybe they don't come back. Maybe they don't reach out and they just don't come back.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I have my last Dick campaign, I have 2 people left who backed at the highest possible level who have still not filled out their the Google form to say what kind of fully customized dick they want, because I'm doing a fully original piece of art for them, and they'll probably just missed the email. But it's been 3 months, and there's got to be like, they are probably sitting there thinking, fuck that guy. He never sent me my dick drawing that I paid him for.
Mhm.
Because why would, like, people have other shit going on in their lives. I don't know if you know this. The world is in chaos.
And it's just really shitty for all this to happen, for all these creators to get impacted, and to be on kind of loose grounds, not knowing what is going to happen going forward. Enough of this, though. Let's get back to your campaign.
Yep.
It is still in pre-launch, but let's chat about it. Let's hype it up. Everyone in chat, sign up for that pre-launch. Show Kickstarter that they are making the wrong choice.
I want to be clear. This thing is in pre-launch in the way that, like, it is such a new campaign that it's too early for it to be even populated to my backer kit dashboard. So I haven't even been able to send out like a, hey, everyone, check out my new campaign link yet. Like that is how new we are with this thing, because this thing is happening fast, because there are very few people who can put out a book as fast as me on a normal day. But to be able to put out a book of dicks, like, this is my passion. Penis design is my passion, and
the magna opus.
Yeah, I can churn these bad boys out pretty damn fast. Which is why I felt it was important to do this. So, and why I thought it was important to do it on the day, but here we are.
What villains can we expect? Without spoiling too much, what genres, what types?
We're gonna have some stuff from TV, some stuff from film, some stuff from comic books, obviously. I think it'll surprise no one to know that I have drawn Danny DeVito's Penguin as a penis. A piece that I'm really proud of. I actually did it initially as a commission at a show a few weeks ago, and I've done a new kind of heightened version of it for this. From the Batman realm, we do have a Riddler, which is a crooked question mark dick with a bowler hat. We have a Two-Face, which I think you can imagine just how fucking gnarly one of those testicles gets. Obviously, I'm doing some of my favorites from the Ninja Turtles, Bebop, Rocksteady, Shredder, and Krang.
Oh God, so good.
And because I did do all 4 turtles in the superhero book. I got to tell you, proudest moment of my life. I was at New Orleans Fan Expo in January, and I had the 4 originals from the turtle dick drawings out on my table, and I didn't know that the cast of the first Turtles movie were there. And they walked past the table, and one of them saw them and freaked out because I had accurately identified which of them were circumcised. And he's like, "Holy shit, guys! He knew which of us are circumcised."
I want to know how they know.
Yeah, the turtles have all seen each other's dicks, guys. That's really important to know. So it'll be sort of stuff in that space. There are some more classic villains that I have on hand that I haven't released to the public yet that I might include in this. But I am intending to do a second volume of Dick or Treat this year. So some of the universal monsters, shall we say, might be being held back for that one. So I'll be moving more into, like, as I say, I'm seeing my first Star Wars tomorrow. So maybe I'll put in a villain from that. Maybe some villains from the real world. Maybe we'll see some truly awful people as they look, drawn as penises. Maybe I won't be able to stomach doing it, and so maybe those ones won't happen. We'll see. A little fun teaser to see what Richard's stomach can put up with.
So how many dicks can we expect in this book?
This will be another 24 dick book.
It's a lot of varying shapes and sizes. What dictates what dick goes to what villain? Shape, size. Do you research anything? Do you consume any of the media to get a feel for them? Like,
they're all characters who either I know well, or characters that kind of exist in the public consciousness. Like, while I've never seen a Star Wars, I know enough about Darth Vader that I could draw him as a dick, and I know what kind of dick he would be. He's the kind of dick who could choke you. There's a good pun.
I thought a vibrator, but damn.
No, I was doing because he does the thing where he like chokes someone without touching them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A dick with force. I don't know. But again, I'm not actually doing a Darth Vader dick because I feel like as soon as you're drawing a kind of robot armor of any kind on a dick, it becomes a little too fake, and I think the fleshiness is kind of a
You
big
gotta
part of the
do
appeal.
Jar Jar Binks. If you're gonna do a dick from the Star Wars series, I feel like that one would be a really insane one to go with.
He's the racist character from the early 2000s.
Is he racist?
Like I don't know if he himself is racist, but he's like a racial stereotype. He's like a Jamaican guy or something.
I could see how I'm not super well versed in if that's like a thing. But he does have the weird dialect. Yes.
Okay, I'll look into that one. I try not to, as with my experiences in most parts of life, I try not to spend too much time with racist dicks. I have obviously done a Bizarro butt plug because you can't not. Um, I think when I'm trying to think about like what kind of dick is this person, I'm never thinking about what kind of dick does this person have. I'm thinking about what kind of dick would represent their entire self. Because I'm
Ooh,
not interested in drawing the dicks of people. I'm interested in drawing dicks as people.
the representation. I love that you go through the whole dimension and just like personify them as a
Yeah,
dick.
and I think as soon as I get into the like, what kind of dick does this person have? It falls more into this like carnival trick of guessing your age and weight. And I can do that. I can look at most people and figure out what kind of dick they have. I'm pretty good at that guessing game, as I've learned.
You
But
know, I love that though too. Um, what embodies a person as a penis, instead of just kind of guessing the girth and size. I think that is such a cool and interesting way to approach it.
yeah, I mean, like, so for instance, the Danny DeVito as a penis, as the penguin as a penis. Um, he's he's thick and short. Obviously, he's uncut because I mean, you need something to sort of represent the flipper, but also let the kind of the the stretchiness of the frenulum is a great place for a monocle to sit, and a top hat can sit nicely atop a like slightly exposed head.
Hmm.
The balls really function well to kind of represent his heft, and he can still be like leaning forward, resting on an umbrella.
See, I love that too. The way your mind works to incorporate all the symbolism to make it still stand out, but still be a dick. Like, I think we talked about this the last interview we did, covering one of your dick books, on how it was so interesting that you took, I wouldn't say something that was like a simple design or like a simple idea, like a dick, but just the concept of just taking that and making it something, is brilliant, right? Like there's been dicks in people's faces for hundreds of years, thousands of years, and I have never seen dicks drawn this way.
Thank you, thank you. I mean, I've been building this memory palace for 29 years at this point.
He's like, my research is, it gets better and better every day.
Did I tell you this is one of the best things that's happened? Is now a lot of my day-to-day expenses count as business deductions for
Oh,
research. Like
good God.
Hoppers, lube, and sex club memberships are all write-offs for me now.
No, I love that, and it's true, right? You need to get the source material up and in the flesh.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
here's the thing, like as I said, I'm 29 years into this. I'm still seeing dicks that surprise me.
You know, what is one of your favorite aspects of doing this?
I thought you were gonna ask me what my favorite dick was. Um, Honestly, it is that like it's the reclamation of something that I think a lot of bad people have turned into something unpleasant. Um, I think that the kind of shared enthusiasm and the kind of the quiet whisper of like, yes, yes, we do all like dicks. We just don't like the way they've been presented to us, and the kind of joy that people take when we're able to put those things together. That feels really special. The like the absolute delight from mostly women at conventions, who are, like I always say to them, would you like to see some dick pics? And they're just so taken aback that someone would have the decency to ask first. And then like the happiness they have when they're looking through these things And seeing them again, I'm like dick pics. I always say are either aggressive or goofy, and I'm not doing either of those things. It's drawn with love. So even when they're in a costume, I'm thinking about things like my witch on a broomstick. I have that dick riding side saddle, so one ball is draped over the side, and like I'm really putting work into like getting the line work right to get the heft and weight of those balls, so you believe the dick is sitting there properly.
Mm-hmm.
This is about the craft. And I also really enjoy the shift that's happened where I now get more dick pics from women than I ever got from men. Um, I obviously receive a lot of dick pics from men in my life, just being on the various apps. But now what happens is straight couples will come over to my table, and not often, but enough that it's notable. The husband or boyfriend will look sort of like, I don't want to see this, and the wife or girlfriend will be sort of delighted by it, and then they will quietly take my business card, and then 10-15 minutes later, I will get a text that says some variation on, "Hi, it's Jill here. We met. I'm this person. You might remember me. Anyway, here's a picture of my husband's dick. Can you make it look good?"
It'll be my honor.
And I love doing that for people because one, it means that these women, they want to like their husband's dick. And he's not presenting it in a way they can. And so they're coming to me and saying, look, these are the qualities it has. Here are like 7 different angles that he sent me. Can you work with this and just like give me something that I'll like to think about? Because a lot of the time it is about like my work is about reframing how we think about this kind of iconography.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that is awesome. And I love that you're able to do that. I love that you're able to, give joy to people. And give joy to yourself too, right? It's like the best of both worlds. You're literally having your cake and eating it too.
Exactly.
That is fantastic. So guys, hit that pre-launch link. Be sure to follow. Get notified when it goes live. And be sure to back. Show Kickstarter that they are, messing up. They're slipping, and that we are not going to stand by and let them get away with this without a fight. Richard, you've been on the show before. You know the drill. We love asking for a piece of advice and then what you're up to outside of creating. And I think we'll do things a little bit differently. For the creator out there looking to get a book of, a little bit more intimate nature, a little not safe for work, what have you, and they don't want to do it on Kickstarter, what would be some avenues or platforms they can look into to get their work out there?
I mean, this is the question I'm coming up against every day because I don't really have an answer for that. I think the answer doesn't lie with the creators. The answer lies with shifting the perspective of the audience. And so I will just put out a very heartfelt plea here to anyone watching this or anyone seeing this later. Please just share my campaign, share other people's campaigns, because I'll give you a little bit of an anecdote. Sorry, I know that we're coming to the end here, but when I first started drawing these dicks, it was at a convention, and the audience there went nuts for it. I did 93 dicks in one weekend, fully customized ones, before I even had the books out. And then I put out the books, and they've sold insanely well at shows. They are a huge draw for people, and there are people who are coming to these shows specifically to find me to buy these books and to get a dick sketch or whatever. And I've never really had that. My work has always been a little more underground than that. But like in person, people want these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so an awful lot of people have looked at this and been like, here's a great business opportunity. Richard, you can make millions of dollars from this. Like, this is an obvious thing that will make you a fucking very wealthy man. What they don't factor in is that these things are basically unshareable. If I post a dick to social media, I get a decent number of likes considering the number of followers I have. Dicks by Richard on Blue Sky, by the way. But what I don't get is the shares, because people don't want to be the person who is putting a dick on their own timeline. They don't want to be the person who is openly saying, I like adult nudity. Because that's, they're worried. They're scared of getting in trouble. They're scared of being shamed. They're scared because their mother is on the platform, whatever. And we need to shift that. We need to say, just if I see adult content, I'm okay with people knowing that I enjoy it. I'm okay with people knowing that I found this funny, because the only other solution is to censor this stuff and share it in a censored way. And you know what I don't want is a censored version of my dicks going out into the world, because then you are being tricked into looking at a dick. And that's the exact opposite of what we should be doing. We should be saying, there are dicks here. If you want to look at them, you can. So what we need is for people to share. We need for people to, like, never complain about if you see something you don't like on a social media platform because it has something that you think is not for you. Just scroll past it. It doesn't have to be for you. That's the wonder of it. You can X that thing in the corner if you don't want to see it. You don't ever have to say, I personally didn't like this, therefore no one else should get to have it either. We need to just all grow up and support this stuff because it matters. Stop being ashamed of the fact that you crank it. Stop being ashamed of the fact that you fuck. Stop being ashamed of the fact that you think the human form is beautiful, even if it isn't for sexual reasons. Stop being ashamed of the fact that there are stories out there about adults doing adult things that are a fundamental part of real life. And stop acting like we need to have some kind of weird purity test for other people's content or what other people are comfortable enjoying.
Hashtag crank your hog in chat. Let's get it.
Is that hashtag crank your hog space in chat or hashtag crank your hog in chat? Because those things are real different.
No, you spell it just like the truckers. HAWG. Spam that in chat. God bless. Richard, what are you up to outside of creating dicks? What movies have you been watching lately? I know, I have not been really up into the new Star Wars, so I definitely slipped. I thought the Baby Yoda movie was already out.
No, it's out tomorrow. I'm just excited to see it. So what have I seen recently? I saw Mother Mary, which really made me mad because I think that David Lowery is someone who on paper creates films that are for me, and in reality they are not. Ghost Story is the worst film I've ever seen. Mother Mary is pretty close second, even though by the numbers I should have loved it. Devil Wears Prada 2, fantastic, just a delight, like weirdly accurate about the magazine and journalism industry in a very depressing way, but still a nice time. Hokum is like if the dumbest person you know tried to describe a Stephen King film to you. I would not recommend it. Mile End Kicks, which I know is out in Canada, I don't know if it's out in the US, is a really just like again a film entirely for me. It's about like a music journalist in 2011 in Montreal, played by Barbie Ferreira, and I'm just like 100% on board for like seeing the grossness of that music scene and like the fun of like coming to terms with who you are in an indie space. That's just a fucking delightful movie. And again, doesn't shy away from sex. Omaha was incredibly depressing. Cody, you're never allowed to watch Omaha. Actually, like very genuinely, because it's about someone who is doing their best against a tough world that is rigged against them, trying to make their children as happy as possible, even though they know it's not going to last.
Oh my God, what do you mean by that? Like, damn.
No. Because you are one of the few friends I have who has children, and I need you to never watch this film, because the way you talk about your children and the way that you give your children like a fun life, what this film will do is tinge everything with a sadness for you as you realize, like, I'm taking my kids to see a movie. What a fun day. Oh God, I sure hope I never have to abandon them at a hospital. Like it's like I don't want to ruin your fun times with your kids. When your children are all grown and out of the house in like 40 or so years, because I'm going to assume you're just going to keep breeding at the rate you do, then you're allowed to watch Omaha because it's quite good. Blue Heron's very good, like really quite shockingly good. I didn't really enjoy it, but then like it stuck with me afterwards. Mortal Kombat 2 is dumb trash, and I highly recommend it. Same with Lee Cronin's The Mummy. What if an 8-year-old girl was the mummy this time? It's just fantastic. Obsession mostly sucks. Like, if you've read horror comics, you get it. It just should have been a 10-minute short, and instead it's an hour and a half of my life that I'll never get back. What else have I seen? I feel like I've seen other things. I didn't see anything yesterday. It's the 40th anniversary of Top Gun this week. So that's like tonight's probably your last chance to see that anywhere in IMAX, because again, Star Wars will like eat up all that space tomorrow. Yeah, I can't remember anything else I've seen. Sorry. So I've seen some good documentaries. I don't know.
I
What have you
still
been?
can't. I still can't believe you said it. Yeah, apparently just breeding.
I mean, am I wrong?
uh, yeah,
Cody,
actually.
don't be ashamed that you enjoy adult
No,
activities. Have you
no.
learned
Hey,
nothing?
hey, hey. I am not ashamed. I'm just saying. Officially. Snip, snip. All right. So
Hey,
yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you, thank you. It
Yeah.
definitely. I'll tell you what. They tell you that it feels like a rubber band snap. They neglect to tell you that it feels like 6 rubber band snaps in a row. So do with that information as you will. Yeah, life has been good. I'm excited. I have a lot of my office planned out. We have the TV on the wall. We have my wife's desk built over there. She's going to be setting up a PC build, so we'll be doing like couples gaming night, like very cute. Like, aw. Gives me a good
That's
reason
so
to still gives me a good reason to still be back here on the computer and stuff. Um, Planning out bookshelves. We're going to get this wall like kind of decorated like my old setup.
hmm
I'm just happy to finally be in a spot where I can control the lighting a little bit better. My visual isn't too bad. The audio is a lot better because it's more enclosed instead of a big open space.
hmm
I'm just lifing. We there was a month of looking for a house while a house was selling. Very stressful. We
Yeah.
get moved. Bailey breaks her arm. So for the last couple weeks, I've been insisting that she rest. She's very adamant on still, doing stuff around the house. But then I have to speed clean, so she doesn't have anything to clean. Right now I'm just buckling down the hatches. I'm solidifying what I'm doing, like in terms of like editing. I have a couple videos in the pipeline I still need to edit and catch up on. Once we get that knocked out of the way, it's on to following through with a lot of the different things. I have the Geekly Awards, hopefully dropping this year,
Okay.
which we've talked about before, but now
Yeah.
I finally have time to do it. I have a summer, like, I don't know what I want, summer reading program. I don't know, where I want to get some graphic novels for kids. Get a whole bundle, donate them to my public library. Kids, teens, just to kind of get comics booming again, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's talking about it, then there's being about it, and I'm hitting that phase of keeping it geekly, and it feels good.
I wonder if there's something, there's, you obviously have, this is probably an off my conversation, but fuck it, let's have it here because this way it's out in the world. You have a lot of friends who have created comics that are with publishers, a lot of graphic novels, probably a handful that are for an all ages audience. Most authors are able to buy their stuff at 50% of retail price. And if they're with a service like Author, the shipping is free for the authors. It might be worthwhile setting up something where if people are interested in donating comics to your thing, set it up as a website where people can buy one and then one will get donated to this charity. And essentially, like the benefit to authors is that books that they're making a tiny percentage on normally are selling online and getting their work out to young readers, which is important. Two, they're doing some good in the world, which I think we
Hmm.
can all agree is pretty worthwhile right now. But it would mean no money being lost because if you're paying 50% of cover price, selling one at full price means that another one is now available for the library.
Yeah, I think that's good. See, and I love having these talks with you because you always have a way of thinking outside the box. Uh, and it's awesome. I would have never thought of that at all. So thank you for that.
I think
Richard.
this is all a good idea. I'm also people should notice people should pay attention to the fact that I do have a new book out next month as well that is like far more planned than this dick book.
Mhm.
It is a memoir about the past a year of my. It started out as a short piece about the time I took mushrooms and got lost on the train, and has sort of spiraled out into the story about what happens when I split into 3 different versions of myself and they all collide as I kind of had what I didn't realize at the time was a massive breakdown last August. And then the sort of struggle to deny that I need to put myself back together, and then the realization that I have to for someone else because some shit went down with my husband that made me have to look after him a lot more this year. So that one's called Oops All Richards, and it'll be on Kickstarter mid-June.
And I think we'll hopefully get you on.
Yeah, June 16th.
So you guys can stay tuned for that as well. That being said, it is time for us to wrap up. These interviews I always love these interviews. I really do. Because it's like really the only interview where I know like I could just be chill. I know it's going to be a great time. There's zero, unless there's something for me to read, there's zero preparation ever needed because we just have such a good vibe. So thank you as always for coming by and hanging out with us. Everyone, it is New Comic Book Day. Hit that pre-launch follow, sign up, and when it gets notified, share it. Share that pre-launch while you can now. Share the campaign when it goes live. It's going to be awesome. Richard always does fantastic work. So with that being said, have a fantastic day. But most importantly, guys,